These are the Chat City interviews from 103.2 Preston FM.
Now, building on the Guildhall began in 1969 and it was opened in 1973. It should have been opened in the Guild year of 72, but because of a builder's strike, it didn't open that year. It cost $1,500,000 to build, and the Guildhall, as you know, caters for every section of the community. The complex includes the Grand Hall, the Charter Theatre, and lots more. And local businessman, of course, has made an offer recently of $1 million to be put into maintaining and bringing lots of different aspects to the Guildhall complex. And somebody who has got the job of doing that, and I don't know if he's had sleepless nights since this happened, I'm sure I would be doing that, is my guest in the studio right now, and it's Richard Simkin, and Richard is operations manager of the Guildhall complex, and I can now say that with certainty. Is that right, Richard?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. It was agreed on Friday afternoon, 1 o'clock, by the Cabinet for it to come over to us. So we've got a lot of due diligence, TP transfer, things to go through now, consultations, with a view for us to hopefully be in there for the 1st of October as a completion date. Obviously it depends on how long the legals take on something as big as this, but that is our hopeful date, the 1st of October.
And for our listeners, tell us a little about yourself, about your background.
Myself, well, I've been in catering, hotels, restaurants, and now stadia catering for over 14 years. I was brought up in the family businesses of restaurants and hotels. We used to actually have the Alpenhof on Cross Street, just off Wrinkley Square. We still own the premises, but my uncle and auntie, my mum and dad, they're business partners. They're getting on a little bit now, so they've just got 4 hotels in Blackpool. And I left there 5 years ago and went off in the big wide world on my own. No fallouts, just went off on my own to see what was out there, and I've not looked back since. I've worked for the likes of Liverpool Football Club, Michelin restaurants, and then for Simon Rigby for nearly 2 years now, running the Villa at Ray Green as the operations manager, and then moving on to Preston North End, where I've been for the last 12 months, heading up all the catering, all the hospitality for match day and non-match day events.
And the vision then for the future, I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if you have had the sleepless nights. If it was me, there definitely
I have,
would be.
to be honest. I've had a couple, if I'm being completely honest, because myself, I put together the document that went to council, and I've been working on that for, well, we got submitted about a week ago, but I worked on that for 3 weeks straight, over 100 pages to put together social, economic, well-being plan, which we are going to obviously execute once we get the Guildhall. And it's just to make sure that the council and the cabinet, which got approved on Friday, are happy with our plans and how we're going to keep it going for the future, and how we're going to restore it back to where it was obviously all those years ago.
And most people will probably, including myself, I've been doing some of that, is focusing particularly on the entertainment side of it. But of course the complex is a lot more than just entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're lucky enough to have a very well-known property consultant, Parker & Co, who's just based on Wrinkley Square as well. And Roger's been working with us since the beginning now, and he's going to focus obviously on the arcade. So that'll take a little bit of the heat off myself, if you like, down there. And I'll work with Melanie Hutchins, who's actually the Guildhall manager at the moment, and she will obviously stay there. And we'll work together to bring theatre, both up and coming and West End, if we can get them here, because they are touring round. We want to get the big events into the Grand Hall again, the big awards dinners. Obviously the comedians, like Simon mentioned last time, they are the new big A-listers, if you like, for the Guildhall. We might not get the likes of Kasabian or people like that, but you never know. The intimate gigs, the Kaiser Chiefs were there not so long ago. So we are looking at avenues, and we are speaking to promoters, obviously confidentially at the moment, but we are speaking to people with regards to putting on some big names there.
And I know we talked about it last week, sadly, with the in the future, the end of 53 Degrees. I mean, it does mean that that's going to be one of the biggest, well, it is the biggest complex anyway, in Preston for live entertainment of the future. And we know, don't we, in Preston, that we can get people out. I mean, OK, the Guild is a very special thing every so often, but even when we have weekends in Preston and when we have other events, people attend it, so we know people will come out.
Yeah, well, there's that saying, isn't it? If we build it, they will come, but we're not too sure if it's the same for that, because there's a lot of hard work. I'm under no illusions, and Simon, our team, are under no illusions that it's going to be a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat and tears put in to get it back to where it was and to get it to where we want it to be. But we do know that obviously the situation with 53 degrees, it'll prove self-fulfilling for ourselves over there, because these acts used to go there, whether they're up and coming, whether they're well known, different genres from different areas, and we know that they used to sell out the 53 degrees. Some maybe not, but the ones that certainly sold out we're 100% interested in, and then we can look at all the other ones, the up and coming acts, and put them on the big stage at the Guildhall.
Well, it's certainly been the news in Preston over the last week or so, and still is, and people have been sending us emails and tweeting us. Are you up for a few questions from listeners?
No problem.
First one is from Lindsay Phillipson, and Lindsay says, some decent theatre at the Charter, please, and a regular slot for screening world cinema. Take a look at what the Dukes in Lancaster offers.
Yeah, the Dukes, we've
I know,
had a look at there.
Yeah, I go there quite often. And note how very popular the National Theatre live broadcasts have been at the Odeon or the View. Culture is alive in Preston. Unfortunately, we just have to travel to get it at the moment.
Well, that's it. That's the exact point that we know about. So the end game for us is that people don't have to travel out of Preston. We want people to come to the Guildhall from Preston and beyond. We want people to now come to the Guildhall rather than having to go to the likes of Dukes or the Odeons or obviously the other venues that are doing the similar kind of things. We're looking at the cinema licence. The Guildhall, the Charter Theatre actually has a cinema licence, and we're already in talks with regards to hopefully getting some piped, if you like, piped events through to the Guildhall as soon as possible, as soon as we get in there and get it up and running. I've been to 2 or 3 events, one namely at Winter Gardens in Blackpool. They've just launched the cinema in the Empress Ballroom there, so I'm looking to do similar things along those lines. And
a question from Barry McCann. Barry says, are the plans for the area around the back, I presume it means around the back of the complex, it housed a bargain store during the 1990s but has been empty since?
Yeah, it's not owned by Preston City Council, it's owned by other people, unfortunately, so it's something that we might be interested in the future. We understand it's obviously derelict at the moment, but it would be something of interest in the future if the opportunity would arise.
And Annette Hunt, now 53 degrees is closing. How about bands and comedians that are up and coming? Give them experience of larger venues and exposure to more people.
Yeah, well, certainly I mentioned that just before, that the up and coming is a big thing that we want to work. We want to work with talent scouts. We know there are talent scouts out there that are looking for the next up and coming to then put them on to promoters and agents. There's obviously a business there, and we want to work with those kind of people to get the up and coming acts onto the stage and give them an opportunity to play there.
And Dave White says more plays and concerts, classical programme for all.
Yeah, I think we discussed the Liverpool Phil last time we were here.
Phil.
And I think obviously you mentioned there's an issue with the acoustics, so if that is an issue, then we'll look at trying to resolve something there and hopefully get these live orchestras on there as a regular basis.
And Graham Hughes, any plans to make the Guildhall greener and more sustainable? There's brilliant light from the glass roof, yet I was there Saturday afternoon and the lights were on. What a waste of electricity and money.
Well, obviously we're not in control just yet, but that would be something we'd be looking at. Is saving some money where we can. There's fantastic light that comes through the atrium, if you like, there, and we do not have actually any plans as yet to make it more greener, but it's not to say that it's something that we might do in the future.
And I know lots of people were asking about the community aspect. Will the community aspect still be an important part of whatever you do in redevelopment in the future?
Of course, yes. I know we touched on this last time, and it's part of our social well-being for our business plan that we put forward. We do understand that there's a big community, especially theatre, arts, play, and that's certainly something that we're going to be doing in the future, working with people.
So when will people see things beginning to change? I mean, will there probably be quite a change to the building, to the structure of the building on the outside as well as maybe on the inside?
Our initial ideas, our initial plan is for Simon's investment is to go into the frontage of the building and then make it look a bit more 21st century, try and clear away what we can with regards to obviously planning restraints there, but try and make it a bit more appealing and inviting. putting in an atrium, looking at putting a big screen TV up there. It just depends on planning, which we're in discussions with at the moment to see what we can actually do.
And maybe, I think, is it also in the plans to bring more shops into the arcade?
Yes, we actually have agreed sort of outline terms with a couple of shop outlets to go in there, and obviously we want to keep the ones that are already in there, keep them going. We do need to discuss that with them, but obviously we want to keep everybody that's in there stay there.
Because it is quite a busy thoroughfare, isn't it, the area around there? It's one of those places that you either pass through quickly, or maybe you do look maybe for kind of niche market shops.
Of course, yeah, we want people to come there, to go there, to come to the Guildhall, to come to the arcade. We don't want people just to go there to walk through. Obviously that is not an issue at all, people coming through there, and once we start to revamp it and get the nice restaurants, cafes, things in there, then obviously people will come through. We understand there is a thoroughfare through from the bus station, but they've actually made a pedestrian exit, if you like, across the main road where the taxi rank is, which obviously isn't the safest place, but that's doing a lot of research myself on where people are coming into the town centre. A lot seem to do that. Obviously when it gets to winter and it's pouring down rain, I imagine people will use the underpass and come through that way, or through the tunnel. At the moment the public seem to come around the Guildhall and into Preston, but once we get it up to where we want it to, we are confident that people should want to come through the Guildhall.
And what about in the way of food outlets? What would you like to see?
Well, we have ideas of our own for what we'd want to put in there, and obviously we've got interest from other franchises, but we're going to put one of our Villa Italian restaurants in there. We think we're pretty secure on that, and one of our own coffee shops. That's obviously unless we get offers from other people, but we've just opened our Villa Italian restaurant on the Kirkham roundabout off the M55, and that's also got one of our coffee shops in there now, so we know it works as a good business model, and why not roll it out into the Guildhall?
Right. So if you were back in the studio in 12 months' time, sitting talking to me and reflecting on these 12 months, what would you hope to be reflecting on? What would you like to see you would have achieved?
Well, we'd like to achieve all our plans and more, if I'm being completely honest. I'm a very ambitious young man, and working with someone like Simon and our team, who everybody is just as ambitious as one another. We'd like to be one of the most recognised premier venues in the country. We'd like to get national recognition within our first 12 months, and that's what we've put in our business plan, and that's where we want to get to. That's our end game, and I'm sure with Simon's backing and the team that we are inheriting in our team already, that we can get there. I'm very confident about that.
It really must be an exciting challenge, because, I mean, Preston really is quite a vibrant city, isn't it? And
it is, yeah.
Somehow you think it's missing a focal point. Somehow you feel there should be something more focal for us here in Preston.
Well, yeah, it is an iconic building. You don't really label that many buildings iconic these days, but obviously you've got the Blackpool Tower in Blackpool, and you've only really got the bus station and the Guildhall. Obviously you've got the lovely Harris Museums and the other various older buildings, but the Guildhall is an iconic building. It was built for the Guild. It was built to be an icon, so we want to transform it and get it recognised again.
Well, can I thank you for coming in this morning?
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, been lovely to meet you, and maybe we can have some regular updates how things are going.
Certainly, yeah. We'll be keeping in touch with you, that's for sure.
And I'm sure our listeners will be sending questions in with views and ideas. And I suppose it is quite nice to get the various ideas from people who are local and live around the area.
We had a great response, to be honest. We had a lot of inquiries come through from us from coming in here last week. So obviously thank you very much for that, and people are more than welcome to get in touch with us through if you go onto the Villa website and just click on the Guildhall at the bottom of the page there, it's all our contact details, and you're more than welcome to call myself or email our media team. That's
brilliant.
No problem.
Well, Richard, thank you for coming in this morning. Been a pleasure to meet you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you have any news or events you'd like to share with Hughie and our Chat City team, why not give us an email, chatcity@preston.fm.